All right, and welcome everybody. My name is Robert Quebeca, and this is Success Mapping 2025. So we're talking about how to create the best 2025 that you've ever had. Oh, it's probably the only one you've had or will have, but that's not the point. The point is that you want to have a amazing and successful, rewarding, fulfilling, joy-filled year. And I've taken on the responsibility to help you do that. So you may or may not know about me or who I am or what I do or what I've done or anything else like that. And I wanted to take a few minutes to just review that in brief. Over the last, I was going to say several decades, but that's not accurate because I'm only 60. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that online or not, but hey, I just turned 60 this year. And about 18 years old, I started my first business. And it was with Shackley, and they are a multi-level marketing company. And some people say, well, that doesn't count as a business. Well, yeah, it does because you invest money into the MLM. You invest in products, you invest in training, you invest in marketing and advertising, you invest in commuting and driving and sales calls and all these different things. And you get to write these expenses off. And then you get to file your taxes as an independent contractor. And you pay taxes like an independent contractor, unless you get smart and make yourself an LLC, which I learned to do later on. And that creates a whole different thing. But anyhow, so yes, it was my first business. And it was really interesting because I learned how to do everything wrong. I did learn a lot. Um, but let's just say that since uh, 18, when was that? In 1982? Something like that? No, it can't be 82, 80, 84. Let me get my math right. 84. No, I was wrong. 83. Anyway, it's around there. It's right after I graduated high school, and I graduated high school in 83, so I think I got the Shackley thing in September of um 83. Yeah. Okay. So that's where it was. So good. You didn't know you were going to get this much detail about my youth. And neither did I. So yeah, so since then I have gone on to start or purchase over 30 businesses, really, since then. And I have had other multi-level marketing companies. I have had multiple entertainment companies. I have a television production company, an author, a professional artist and photographer. Um, so as an author, people are like, well, you just write books. So does that really count as a business? Well, does it or doesn't it? Um, it's rare, especially now, that authors make a living just off of a book. So there was a time that if you were popular enough, and still probably if you're popular enough, have a large enough following, where a publishing company can guarantee a certain level of sales, what the publishing company will do is give you an advance. And 20 years ago, 25 years ago, publishing companies would hand out advances in the hundreds of $1,000s and sometimes millions of dollars. But that's what it is. I use the word advance. So it just means that the author gets paid before the publishing company gets paid. But the publishing company is taking a pretty much educated, solid risk that they're going to get their money back. So what this does is it means that, the author gets their money up front, but they don't get any more money until that advance is paid off. The advance is nothing more than a fancy word for a loan from the publishing company. Okay. So most authors think that, great, I'm going to write a book, like I did, and I'm going to find a publishing company, and they're going to pay me lots of money to write my book, and they're going to sell my book, and they're going to market my book, and they're going to get me in front of lots of people, and I'm going to get on stage, and I'm going to do book readings and classes and all this stuff. And no. And I learned some really interesting lessons. And thanks to a colleague, mentor, Rick Frishman, out of New York, he does this Author 101. And back in 2014, 2015, I attended an Author 101, and I was just blown away. And all the hype and mysteries and misnomers of being an author were just wiped away. And so I learned some very interesting hard lessons, got rid of some very ingrained misbeliefs and mistruths about what it is to be an author and about what expectations for an author are. And like, great, you publish a book, you make lots of money, and you can travel around the world. So that happens not often. Sorry, kiddo. So how authors make money, most authors make money, is by building a business around a book. So each book or book series is considered its own business. And with that book, you have the book. You have an ebook. You've got a hardcover book. Hey, I got a thumbs up. You got a you got a hardcover. You have a soft cover. You have a ebook. You have an audiobook. You have a workbook. You have that goes through the intricacies of the book. You go through and create a webinar to talk about the book. Then you create like the seminar series to have, a workshop series type of thing. Then you create a course about the book. And then you offer all different kinds of things that allow you to actually serve your readers in ways that they're not normally served. Great. We go to CVS or Safeway or whatever, go to the drugstore or not to brand anybody. You go to the drugstore or the grocery store, or big box shop, and you buy a book, and in the book somewhere is somebody's website for more information, and you go to that website, and next thing you know, it's like, wow, I can get this, I can get the audiobook, I can get this workbook, I can find out more about, what was going on. And it's a business. It's a business. Businesses require entrepreneurs or the business owners to create a product and then to sell that product. And since I'm not doing it for anybody else, in terms there's nobody above me, I'm not employed by somebody else. I'm employed by myself. I am self-employed. So every book becomes its own business, its own structure. Okay. Now, if I wanted, I could create a big publishing company and put all my books under there, but it doesn't quite align well for the kind of topics that I write about. So I wouldn't put my cookbooks in the same publishing company, I guess, or same category as I would with healing from grief after the loss of a child, and my nephew Garrett, which will be almost 20 years coming up here in another month, a few weeks. But anyhow, so the point is that when we're looking at identifying what it is that we want to put our energy into to create a life that feels energized to live, right? It takes some work. I don't know about you, but um, growing up, I had a very bad experiences with goal setting. Yeah, we were taught goals in high schools and stuff like that, but the teachers honestly did not know what they were talking about. They were like the worst goal planning strategies I think they ever can remember. It's like, just say what you want and then just go get it. It's like, okay. Um, and I mean, I've done that, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Most of the times it didn't. But I really never understood what goals were, and I never understood how they aligned with me at my innermost level, how I connected with my goals and how my goals connected with me. To ask myself, well, why do I want that? And what's it going to do for me? And what's it going to do for somebody else and the people around me in my life? And how is that going to change my life? And what's it going to allow me to do once I achieve this? And what will my life be like once I do achieve this? Okay. So, goal setting became an elusive art for me for a while, to the point where I just stopped doing everything about goals because I was afraid that if I examined my goals close enough, that I would decide that I didn't want it. And for some reason, I thought that was a bad thing, that I was kind of like letting an idea, a dream die within me. And that didn't make me feel good. And I didn't want to have to deal with that. I didn't want to have to face it. So what I ended up doing was just like, okay, I want to do this. And then I would just go do it, like I mentioned earlier. And sometimes with success and sometimes with dreadful failure, things like that. So, I have been homeless a couple times in my life, as a result of some bad decisions. But at any rate, so when I was doing these things, I really was doing them with the intention that I was creating something that was going to be good enough for me in my life that I could actually live an easier, more enjoyable, and profitable life, a financial life of ease, you know, and have the ability to share that with the people whom I care about, and the ability to experience life the way that I wanted to experience it. So there was this battle going on in regards to goal setting. And it got to the point where I don't think I was able to think my way out of a wet paper bag, honestly. So what changed? What changed was a moment of clarity that I got. And it was combined with a desire to do something really great. Um, and I think that so in 2009, I started a chocolate company out of my condo in Alexandria, Virginia, where I had just moved back to. And I was doing wholesale chocolate. And I was like, and that was my dream, and I even created a line of presidential chocolates for Barack Obama's inauguration and stuff like that. And they were so delicious. But that wasn't it. What was it is that the opportunity came to be able to purchase one of my clients that I was wholesaling chocolate to purchase his chocolate shop. And I was like, I want this more than anything. I want this. I had no idea how to get it. I had no idea what I was going to do once I got it, what it was going to mean for me, but all I knew was that I want this. And this is going to be fabulous and it's going to be amazing and I'm going to feel fantastic about it. And then I got scared, which happens to all of us when we are confronted with something that we want so much and we're like, but what if I don't get it? Or what if I get it and then I lose it? Or what if I get it and something bad happens? Or what if I get it and something really, really, really good happens and I don't know how to deal with that? What if it changes my life so drastically that I'm not going to know who I am anymore? The list is endless, right? So, I'm laughing because I've obviously been through all these things, and you may not be laughing. You might be crying, and I empathize with that because I shed a lot of tears, trust me. So there's no lack of compassion here. You know, looking back on that, is humorous only in the sense that I was able to find love for myself enough to forgive myself for all of that, right? And to be able to look back on it as an experience that I would never, ever exchange for anything else. Okay. So, you can tell that this talk today has a clear point, right? And I hope it does. So, my intention was to purchase this chocolate shop from Biagio, and great guy, and gave me an oppor for me, it was an opportunity of a lifetime. It was bigger than a bucket list item. It was an offer too good to refuse. And I was conflicted because I was like, should I really do this? Should I really do this? And one of my friends in my sponsor, actually, in a 12-step recovery group, said, well, gee, Bob, what happens if you say no? What are you going to be doing if you say no and the opportunity has left? I was like, oh my God, I would never shut up with myself. I would just like, I wouldn't leave myself alone for decades probably and just regret. It's like, because all I can think about is that chocolate shop. He's like, well, you have your answer. Took a deep breath and went, oh, wow, I do have my answer, don't I? And I said, if I really, really, really want this to work, I am going to write an accurate business plan that's associated with clear goals. And I did. Now, mind you, my history up until this point, this is like 2011 when I purchased the shop. And up until this point, I had built and rebuilt, designed, architected, implemented, I don't know, 20, 30, I don't know, lost count, data centers for hospitals, federal government, private institutions, financial companies. I was a data center, security operations center architect. And that required meticulous planning, which requires goal setting, which requires being able to manage and motivate teams of people to orchestrate um, things happening specifically at certain times, where vendors and employees and equipment all converge at the same time. So I knew how to create projects and to create goals for other people. But what about me? What about my dream? What about me? What about what was important to me? Was it just good enough that I could do it for everybody else and to not be able to do it for myself? Or not even not to be able? Of course, I was able to, but to choose not to do it for myself. What does that mean? Right? It meant a lot. That's for another conversation. But um, the point is that I had that clarity. If I want this dream to come true, I'm going to get very clear about what I want and what it's going to take to get it. And I wrote out my plans, I wrote out my goals, and I executed them on time, and not perfectly, but on time. And I was able to do amazing things. And um, I was inspired, and I was able to and I was able to inspire others in that process. Um, some of you who are watching this may have been to one of the many chocolate tastings and chocolate classes and truffle making classes and all those wonderful things that we did at Cocoa. So my point in all this We're talking about success mapping. And a lot of people, including yours truly, for many years, believe that if I just hold it in my mind, that it will come to fruition, right? That everybody will be able to read my mind who's supposed to be involved. Yeah, talk about conflict. Unmet expectations, no less. All right. So, I found myself again just getting very clear. I was afraid of failure. I was a failure in the sense that, I was afraid of letting myself down. I was afraid of trying so hard, of giving every ounce of energy I had to something that meant so much to me, something that I loved so much, and for it not to work out and to feel brokenhearted about it. I was what I was afraid of. And so I knew from past experience that if I um, just held it in my thoughts, held the project, the goals in my thoughts, um, that was not going to be enough because, you know, our brains work in very mysterious ways, and what we think we are thinking and what we think we remember are not actually what we're thinking or remembering. Save that for another conversation too. So, but it's the truth. We don't remember the way that we think we remember, and most of us actually spend time thinking in the guise of remembering. So if I were to ask you the question, if you were to try to practice some awareness, self-awareness right now, how much of your thinking is actually regurgitating memories opposed to the actual intrinsic creation of new intentional thought? That is thinking. Just having the mind go through future and past and all this stuff and in a mishmash. That's not thinking. That's all fantasy. That's all just filling in the time as we go through the day. And I don't mean to be blasé or rude or ignorant or offensive about it, but I'm not saying anything that is not commonly known and not factually proven, et cetera, et cetera. So if it's your first time hearing it, sorry for the shock, but suffice it to say that when I take the opportunity to think clearly, to plan clearly, to devise a clear goal with milestones, with dates, and I set myself up to take the little actions each day that need to be taken to move myself forward millimeter by millimeter, I always get to my destination. Things may change and shift along the way, as is obviously going to happen. It's, what I devise right now is not going to exactly, perfectly, specifically going to be what it ends up being, but pretty darn close. So giving myself the opportunity for that. All right. So, in the past 42 years since I started my first business, um, I've accomplished some significant things. Um, and I'm still shy about it. I don't know why, but okay. I feel like it's bragging, and I'm not bragging because these are just things that I did, and I didn't do them to show off, maybe a little bit at times, especially when I was a clown. Okay, then you're showing off. But anyhow, get me on a stage and watch what happens. So, what I want to relate to here is that I didn't turn my phone off. So let me do that while we have a few more minutes and we don't get interrupted. Okay. Um, I accomplished a lot and none of it perfectly. None of it turned out specifically, precisely, exactly the way that I intended it to. But every time that I made a plan to accomplish what I wanted, I got it. I got it, and it became effortless, almost effortless. I don't want to say effortless, effortless, but pretty darn near close. Things aligned. The universe works with me. The universe works with us when we are clear and intentional. The other things that, even though I accomplished them, that were not so intentional, not so clear, I stumbled, I fell, I scraped. Those were the times that I ended up homeless. Those were the times that I ended up really destitute. Those were the times that, people didn't want to be part of my life, things like this. So, yes, it's possible to accomplish things, but I recognize that there is a clear distinction between being very clear and intentional about what I want to create and enjoy in my life, you know? And it's like we get so caught up in like these, New Year's resolutions and promises and Lent. Oh, Lent. Oh, today's Fat Tuesday. Hi, happy Fat Tuesday. I need to go get some beads. Actually, I have them in the other room. I'll just go put them on. But anyhow, I lost my train of thought. The beads distracted me. But when I'm clear versus not clear, when there's something that I want that's going to bring excitement and joy and fulfillment into my life, I want to give myself every opportunity for success that I possibly can. Because when I don't plan intentionally for it, I have not planned how to deal with the hiccups that show up, the unexpected surprises. When I'm planning, I can take some of these things into consideration. I can make a plan B and a plan C. But when I'm shooting from the hip and winging it and thinking I'm, some hot shot or something like that, yeah, I might be able to get through it, but, with a lot more scrapes and bruises and, things like that. And so if I have my druthers, you know, I choose to be intentional. The universe is amazing because um, when it comes to humans being able to manifest things in their life, when we're specific about it, when we're intentional about it, when we believe it like we know it's already happened, everything just lines up magically. It just does. And if you've experienced it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And this isn't woo-woo or anything else like that. This is really how it works. And so when things are not working according to plan, I have to check my intentions. I have to check my beliefs. I have to check my suspicions and my doubts. I have to check how I feel about things and remind myself to feel better about things. Not feel good about things. I mean, to feel better, to learn how to feel in an appropriate way that supports what I am trying to create in my life. That is feeling better, right? It's like doing better, feeling better. Okay. So, um, I want to leave you with some thoughts here. And if you have any questions, you can just put them in the chat below, message me and things like that. I'm pretty easy to reach. And look, my phone number's even, oh, wrong corner. I got my camera versed. Oh, look, okay, there's my phone number down there. So at any rate, um, I would love to hear what your experience has been in regards to comparing goals that you were very clear and intentional about and had a clear action plan for, and those goals that you were not, and what happened, and how you felt at the end of it all, right? And that's a big difference, because when I'm pursuing a goal that I've planned out, I just feel so much. I'm not waiting to the end to feel better anymore because I know it's going to happen and I'm bringing the joy into the moment. And everything that I do, everything that I'm doing is part of the creation of it. And it just feels so good to be part of the creation of it. Right. And as opposed to my experiences, at times with the goals that I was not clear about and stuff like that, there was doubt, there was uncertainty, there was disbelief, there was disappointment, there was riddled with fear, there was a sense of defeat, there was a sense of disbelief that I could actually have something that I want. Why would the universe not want to give me what I intrinsically, authentically want? The universe is here to support us in every possible way. And when we're connected and we're aligned, that's how it unfolds. So, learning and relearning to give myself every opportunity to live in that connection of creation just makes every day so much better, so much more enjoyable. I don't have to hold my happiness or my joy hostage to some future event because I'm living in the moment and bringing this intrinsic joy of creation out in the moment, in action, right? And that's the distinction. That's the distinction. So I dare you to go experiment. I dare you to write down 3 things that you would like to see happen in your life this year that would make a positive difference in your life. And then come back in 2 weeks to the session and to the next live session. When is that? On March, the second week of March. Not next week, but the week after. Anyway. So come back to this event and let's explore it. Bring your questions. Tell me what's going on. Let's work through it. Because right now there's a lot on my plate. I'm looking at the different things on my website that I just redid. I have 2 books that I just finished, and I'm working on 3 new books. I love to write, and I'm working on 3 new books. The Cybersecurity Academy, teaching people cybersecurity and helping them get certified. My mental health coaching at Being of Heart, the marketing and branding company, building and supporting websites for people, the chocolate classes, as a chocolate chef, and my chocolate books, my artwork, my TV production studio. Not everyone, but there are several people really twisting my arm really, really hard to do another TV series. So we'll see what happens. Um, and then some, right? So I'm not doing these things because I'm bored. I'm not doing these things because I have nothing better to do. I'm not doing these things because I'm looking for things to fill my time. I'm not doing these things to brag and to show off or anything else like that. I'm just given inspiration, and it's what I choose to do with that inspiration that makes a difference. So when I walk with it and walk in it, I get all the help that I need. I get all the resources that I need. Doesn't mean I have to work for them. It doesn't mean that it's not easy or difficult or anything like it. But it just happens. Things happen. So, and more importantly is that I get to live in the daily joy of it. The daily joy of it. I get to live in the daily joy of creating. And I'll leave you with that thought and come back and I'll see you again in a couple weeks. And so if you have any questions, just reach out to me. I'm happy to have a conversation. Oh, and if you have not taken the Habit Finder assessment, which will illuminate these hidden habits of thinking that create most of the self-sabotage in our lives, please go to thecoacheshelper.com/productivity. Thecoacheshelper.com, this is my website, thecoacheshelper.com/productivity. Or you can just go to coacheshelper.com or go to robertquebeca.com, because I have links for this assessment, this life-changing assessment through its awareness, on all my sites basically. It's a gift. I'm a certified habit finder coach. I've been using it for several years. It's transformed how I connect with myself. And being able to use other tools like core transformation and wholeness work has allowed me to heal pretty much everything that's needed to be healed in my life. And that's what I embrace as a gift that I'm able to bring to other people through service. And so I hope that I have the opportunity to serve you in the ways that you need to be served, and so that you can live in your joy, you know, always. So many blessings. Thank you for your time, and see you soon. Cheers.